God has a purpose in everything. Once upon a time, in a great kingdom ruled by a mighty king, there was a humble servant who was always by his side. Wherever the king went, the servant followed, whether in peace or in danger, in the palace or in the wild. But this servant had a peculiar habit. No matter what happened, good or bad, he would always say, "No matter what it is, God always has a purpose for everything he lets happen to you." The king found it odd, even annoying sometimes, but he let it slide because the servant was loyal and faithful. One sunny morning, the king and his servant rode into the forest for one of their usual hunting trips. The birds were chirping, the air was crisp, and everything seemed perfect, until suddenly a ferocious lion leaped out of the bushes. The guards were too far behind. The servant tried to protect the king, but it was too late. The lion snapped at the king's hand, biting off one of his fingers. In pain and fury, the king turned to his servant and yelled, "Where were you? You were supposed to protect me." But the servant, calm as always, looked him in the eye and said, "No matter what it is, God always has a purpose for everything he lets happen to you." That was the last straw. In a fit of rage, the king ordered his men, "Throw him in prison! Let him say those words behind bars!" Days turned into weeks, and the servant sat in a cold, dark cell, but he never stopped saying his favorite phrase. Even as the guards laughed and mocked him, he would still say, "No matter what it is, God always has a purpose." Sometime later, the king, missing the excitement of the wild, decided to go hunting alone. Deep in the forest, he wandered farther than he ever had before, but trouble was waiting. A hidden trap snapped beneath his feet, and before he knew it, a group of cannibals surrounded him. They tied him up and dragged him to their village. He had fallen into the hands of a savage tribe preparing for a human sacrifice ritual. They danced, they chanted, they lit the fire. Then they brought him to the center and began inspecting him, head to toe. Suddenly they stopped. One of the tribesmen yelled. They gathered around his hand. He was missing a finger. They gasped and backed away in disgust. "Unworthy! Incomplete! We cannot offer a broken sacrifice to our gods!" And just like that, they untied him and let him go. The king, trembling and overwhelmed, ran as fast as he could back to the palace. As soon as he arrived, he shouted, "Bring the servant! Release him at once!" When the servant stood before him, the king dropped to his knees and cried, "Forgive me! You were right! Because I lost a finger, they didn't kill me! God had a purpose after all!" But then the servant smiled and said something that stunned the king even more. "My king, if I had been with you that day, I would have been taken in your place. I have all 10 fingers, you see?" And once again, with peace in his voice, he said, "No matter what it is, God always has a purpose for everything he lets happen to you." Moral lesson. In life, we often react to pain, loss, or failure with frustration or confusion. But what we don't see in the moment is that every delay, every detour, every scar, even every missing finger, might just be a piece of a bigger purpose. Sometimes what looks like a curse today might be the very thing that saves you tomorrow. Advice. Next time you go through something you don't understand, pause and trust. Remember this servant's wisdom. No matter what it is, God always has a purpose for everything he lets happen to you.